The sight in the game, could see the boxing voice.
Fernando Pimentel of ThaBoxingvoice.com here with Gennady Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez. Abel, pay-per-view. Gennady has finally arrived to pay-per-view. Many fans have been waiting to see who his opponent will be when he arrives, and we get David Lemieux. How do you feel about this fight? How do you feel Gennady's chances? And in reality, how do you feel Lemieux's chances in this fight are?
I honestly think that we as boxing fans, because I'm a boxing fan too, have been asking, pleading, I guess, for these kind of fights to come back. And these kind of fights were the kind of fights that we had back in the 90s and late 80s and 70s, where the best was fighting the best, and we were going to be entertained. We were going to be given everything for our buying dollar. Lemieux represents the stiffest challenge to date, but obviously because I train Golovkin, I think that Golovkin is a much better fighter, a much better puncher, and it's not an easy fight, but it's a fight that will thrill everybody that watches it.
Now, you said that this is an action-packed event, and obviously it's going to be because you guys, as a co-main event, have Chocolatito versus Brian Viloria. And again, this is one of those throwback fights again. Young, smaller weight division fighters. How is it that you feel about that fight being the co-main event and being that it's going to be in Madison Square Garden?
To tell you the truth, I think that either one of those fights could be the main event. They're going to steal the show. Chocolatito is a great fighter. Brian has proven, not only is an ex-world champion, but proven that he's a great fighter also. So I hope that we have a screen in the dressing room so that I can watch the fight while we're getting ready, because I don't want to miss that. But we're looking forward to just hopefully upstaging. But if we don't, I'm okay with that, because they're two great fighters also.
Now, you said the fans have spoken because obviously they've sold over 15,000 tickets already for Madison Square Garden. You guys are looking for a sellout. How do you feel about Triple G's return to New York? I know he hasn't been there in about a year. So how do you feel about his return to New York?
Well, I think the fight, the matchup has made the fans respond. The pre-sale sold 6,000 in a couple hours. In 1 week, they've sold 15. We haven't gotten the update since yesterday, so it could be up to 16, 17. So the garden is going to be sold out. But the reason it's going to be sold out is because we're finally giving the fans what they've been asking for. We're giving the fans, whether it's a 1-round fight or a 10-round fight, it's going to be war inside the ring. New York has been very good to us. It's been a great host. Madison Square Garden's been a great host. So we're happy to be going back. It's the arena that deserves this kind of fight. I think the history of the Mecca of boxing, we're going to be part of that history. We're going to be part of that. Those great fights have been staged there.
Now, you said that the fans are winning out on this one, and generally because the fans are getting fights they want. But do you feel, due to the fact that, and I'm going to say it, the PBC has came out and given fights on free network television, do you feel that other promoters have had to step up their game to make these type of matchups? Because obviously after your fight, we're getting the next month, we're getting Cotto versus Canelo, something a lot of people probably didn't think would happen. Do you think that's why promoters are moving and going up and saying, you know what, we need to make these fights now?
No, I think that if you give the fans what they're asking for, they're going to respond. Golovkin sold out the StubHub several times in a way that they had to add seats, they had to add bleachers, they had to, okay, so, and we were fighting what, Rubio, okay? Golovkin has given the fans whatever length of time the fight lasts, he's given them what they came to see. He's giving them destruction. You know, unfortunately, we live in a morbid society. People want to see somebody get knocked out, get hurt. Against Willie Monroe, he sold out the Forum. What if we had it set up for 12-5 or 12-4? So if you give the fans the type of fighter that excites them, they're going to come out. This fight, it just happens to have a similar fighter on the other side. So they're even responding even better. So it's just not that the promoters haven't stepped up. I don't think the promoters were at fault. I think that the fighters were at fault. Unfortunately for the group that you just mentioned, they're making fights that are not attractive. They're making fights that are completely mismatches. When you have a Danny Garcia fighting a Rod Salka, who 2 fights before fought at featherweight and got beat at featherweight, or beat beat a Cuban young man at featherweight, and then moves up to 140 to fight Danny, that's just unfair. So as fight fans, you're insulting us. I'm a fight fan too. So when you put fights like this on, they're going to respond. They're going to come out in droves. Now we hope that the pay-per-view market and the pay-per-view buys equal what were, or equally as good as the sales of the tickets. If they are, then it just is a message to the ones that are not putting on the good fights that that's what the fans are asking for.
Now, what do you accredit Gennady's fame and his credibility? Obviously, as you said, he sold out the StubHub Center, sold out the Forum, and now he's going back to New York and he's selling out there. He's the only fighter right now in this era that's able to sell out on both coasts and even in other continents because he does go to Monaco, correct?
Yes.
And he sells out there as well.
Style, his boxing style. I think that the style is indicative of the past fights, indicative of the wars that we had, not only at the Blue Horizon but at in the old Garden, all those great shows at the Forum, the Matthew Saad Muhammad's, Matthew Franklin's. Those are the kind of fights that we're missing, and by doing this, by starting with this, hopefully the winner of the Canelo Cotto fight steps up and fights Golovkin. Then maybe all four could go in a round robin, you know, like Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran, and fight each other. You know, and it's guaranteed. Could you imagine once we beat Lemieux and say Canelo beats Cotto, Lemieux fights Cotto and they have a war, and we fight Canelo and we have a war, and then they go the other way. I think that the fans are waiting for that.
Now, you